As we dive into the latest developments surrounding the Green Bay Packers, whispers of potential trades and draft strategies are swirling. The Packers are looking to bolster their offensive line, a unit that struggled significantly last season. Fans, where are you tuning in from? Leave your thoughts in the comments as we break down the future of this pivotal position. The 2026 season concluded with the offensive line resembling more of a turnstile than the formidable wall Green Bay envisioned. With the disappointing finish fresh in our minds, the Packers have made only a modest adjustment, moving Jordan Morgan to left tackle in place of Rasheed Walker. While Morgan's transition is a notable change, the real question is whether it's sufficient. Alongside him, the re-signing of Sean Rhyan to play center and the addition of Darian Kinnard as a versatile backup suggest the Packers feel they have their first 6 offensive linemen locked in for 2026. But let's be clear, this could change in an instant. The team's search for depth, particularly at tackle, is still very much alive. Reports indicate that the Packers hosted Arizona State's Max Iheanachor for a visit ahead of the draft. And this is where things start to get interesting. Standing at 6'6" and weighing 321 pounds, Iheanachor is not only a physical specimen, but a player with immense potential. Ranked as the 30th overall prospect on consensus boards, his status as a potential first-round pick raises eyebrows about whether he'll even be available by the time Green Bay is on the clock. Iheanakor's college career speaks volumes. Starting 28 games at right tackle without allowing a single sack in 2025, he has shown he can hold his own in pass protection, a critical skill for any tackle in the NFL. Yet, let's not forget the unconventional journey that brought him to this point. Born in Nigeria, Iheanachor didn't even pick up football until 2021. Instead, his first love was basketball. But as fate would have it, a recommendation from an AAU coach led him to Bobby Godinez, the football coach at East Los Angeles College. Godinez recognized the raw talent immediately. He had a lot of potential, a big athlete who's hardly played any football, Godinez noted about Iheanachor. This rawness presents a dual-edged sword. While he has incredible upside, he also requires significant development. The Packers may see him as an untapped resource, someone who could become a cornerstone of their offensive line with the right coaching and environment. Transitioning from basketball to football isn't easy, and, as Godinez recounted, there were times when Iheanachor doubted his place in a sport dominated by players with a lifetime of experience. But with perseverance and encouragement, he began to flourish, ultimately landing offers from FBS programs after the 2022 season. His decision to follow Tuateli to Arizona State solidified his path and culminated in a successful collegiate career, highlighted by helping lead the Sun Devils to the college football playoff in 2024. Now, if Iheanachor were to fall to the Packers in the second round, the question arises, how does he fit into an offensive line that is still finding its identity? While the organization has expressed confidence in Jordan Morgan at left tackle, the lack of substantial evidence in meaningful games leaves room for skepticism. Morgan has yet to prove his ability to anchor the left side consistently in the regular season, raising concerns about whether he can adequately protect Jordan Love's blind side. This uncertainty may lead the Packers to consider Iheanachor for a swing tackle role. If Morgan falters, would Darian Kinnard really be the answer at left tackle? Although Kinnard has had moments of success, relying on him to step up in a critical game could be a gamble that Green Bay isn't willing to take. The Packers are clearly serious about fortifying their offensive line. Last season alone, they invested a second-round pick in Anthony Belton and committed a hefty $77 million to Aaron Banks. It's evident that with injuries being a constant threat, depth is crucial. If Iheanachor slides down the draft board, Green Bay would be prudent to act decisively. As we transition to our next topic, the Packers' strategic maneuvers in the offseason will be under close scrutiny. What choices will they make to solidify their roster and ensure that this offensive line transforms from a turnstile back into a great wall? Stay tuned as we continue to unpack the latest in Packers news and rumors. As the anticipation builds for the NFL draft in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Green Bay Packers find themselves in a challenging position, with their first selection arriving at the 52nd overall pick in the second round. The question on everyone's mind, what will they do with this crucial pick? Amidst the excitement, I joined forces with a friend, a Chiefs fan, for our 7th annual dual mock draft. a tradition that always brings a mix of seriousness and fun. Where are you watching from? Share your thoughts in the comments. In our first mock draft, we kept things straightforward, sticking to a no-trade format and diving straight into the selections. Although the Packers won't be selecting until the second round, my friend graciously bent the rules to let us continue into that round. With the Chiefs having odd-numbered picks in the first round, they handled those while I focused on the even-numbered selections, culminating in my choice for Green Bay. It's crucial to note that this mock draft occurred prior to the significant trade between the Giants and Bengals, where Dexter Lawrence was sent to Cincinnati in exchange for their 10th overall pick. This draft class mirrors last year's in that it features only one standout quarterback, Fernando Mendoza from Indiana. Speculation is rampant that the Raiders will snag him with their first selection. The Ohio State Buckeyes made a powerful statement last season, and that talent is reflected in this draft. With 4 Buckeyes picked in the top 10, it's clear that their program is churning out elite prospects. Arvell Reese went second overall, while Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, and wide receiver Carnell Tate followed closely behind. However, the Packers will be left to ponder what could have been, as a run on cornerbacks late in the first round saw 4 selected between picks 29 and 33. One of those was Chris Johnson, a player many in Green Bay have been eyeing, who ended up with the Dolphins at pick 30, just a few selections ahead of the Packers. After a lengthy deliberation, I made my selection for the Packers at pick 52. Here's the reality. It's highly improbable that Green Bay will opt for a defensive tackle or cornerback with their first pick. The chances of them taking Avion Terrell are slim, despite what some analysts might suggest. Instead, my gut tells me they'll focus on addressing the edge rusher position, a need that has become glaringly apparent. With the injury concerns surrounding Micah Parsons and the uncertainty of Lucas Van Ness's contract status, coupled with Kingsley Enagbara's departure to the New York Jets, the depth at the edge rusher position has taken a hit. While Barron Sorrell and Colin Oliver were drafted last year, it's clear that the Packers require additional firepower on the edge. This is a critical juncture for the franchise, and I believe they will look to fill this void in the second round. That brings us to the player I selected, Danny Dennis Sutton, an athletic and versatile edge rusher from Penn State. Standing an impressive 6 feet 5.5 inches and tipping the scales at around 260 pounds, he clocked an eye-catching 4.6 3-second 40-yard dash at the combine. His explosiveness was evident in the drills, with a sub 7.0 second 3-cone time that showcases his agility and burst, traits that are essential for an edge rusher. But it's not just about the measurables. Dennis Sutton has demonstrated his ability to produce on the field. Over the past 2 seasons at Penn State, he racked up 17 sacks and amassed 84 total tackles, proving he can contribute immediately at the NFL level. For a team like the Packers, that's exactly what they need, a player who can step in and make an impact right away. In our mock draft, the excitement didn't stop at just the serious selections. We also had a fun, chaotic mock where we spun a wheel to determine picks. While we didn't extend this round to the Packers selection, it added a layer of unpredictability that kept the spirit alive. Last year, we correctly predicted 9 selections, setting a record we are determined to surpass this time around. As we gear up for the draft on Thursday, the excitement is palpable. What decisions will the Packers make? Will they capitalize on the opportunity to bolster their defense? Or will they surprise us all? Whatever the outcome, one thing is for sure. The passion for the Green Bay Packers runs deep, and as always, my unwavering support remains. Go Pack Go! Now, let's transition to our next item, where we'll dive deeper into the potential strategies for the Packers as they prepare to make their mark in the draft. As we dive deep into the final segment of our video, let's talk about the Green Bay Packers and their upcoming draft strategy. With the NFL draft looming and the Packers lacking a first-round pick, the stakes are higher than ever. However, this isn't just a matter of filling in the gaps. It's about making calculated moves that could define the franchise's immediate future. The Packers' decision to trade up in past drafts for talents like Micah Parsons has left them with limited draft capital this year. But, as we all know, this is a team that has historically leaned on the draft for long-term gains, often prioritizing future potential over immediate impact. Yet, without that first-round pick, could we see a shift in strategy? The urgency to return to the Super Bowl for the first time since 2010 cannot be overstated, and the Packers have glaring needs, particularly at cornerback and defensive tackle. Right at the top of that list is Chris Johnson, the cornerback from San Diego State. With a knack for the end zone, he recorded 4 interceptions last season, 2 of which he returned for touchdowns. His exceptional coverage skills and ball-hawking ability could be just what the Packers' secondary requires. The burning question is whether he will still be available at pick number 52. Given his impressive pre-draft performance, he may very well be a late first-round prospect. If General Manager Brian Gutekunst sees a chance to snag him, expect some aggressive moves, perhaps leveraging future picks from 2027 as trade bait. Another intriguing name in the cornerback pool is Colton Hood. His draft stock fluctuates between the first and second rounds, and if he slips, the Packers could consider trading up to secure him. Hood had a standout final year at Tennessee with 9 pass breakups, showcasing his ability to disrupt plays. Yet, the Packers have historically shied away from players with injury concerns, as seen in previous drafts. They passed on cornerback Will Johnson last year due to health issues, opting instead for Matthew Golden. Will they repeat that cautious approach this time around, or take a gamble on a talent like Hood? Then there's Caleb Banks from Florida, whose potential was stunted by foot injuries, including a broken foot suffered at the scouting combine. When healthy, he was projected as a first-round pick, yet his injury history raises significant red flags. The Packers need players who can contribute immediately, and taking a risk on Banks could either pay off handsomely or lead to another wasted pick if he can't stay on the field. Kristen Miller is another name to watch. A powerful defensive tackle who could fill a crucial void in Green Bay's run defense. He was recently hosted for one of the Packers' 30 visits. However, similar to Johnson, there's a concern he may not last until pick 52. If he does, will the Packers, known for their cautious approach, be willing to overlook any medical issues to snag a player with such immense potential? Let's not overlook Dominique Orange, a player known more for stopping the run than rushing the passer. While he didn't have stellar sack numbers in college, his ability to absorb double teams could be invaluable for a Packers team that often needs its linebackers to be free to make plays. The question remains, is he worth a second-round pick when his contributions are primarily in run defense? Then we turn to Lee Hunter, another defensive tackle with a reputation for run stopping. He's been a bit of a surprise visit for the Packers, and while he might not be the most athletic option, he could certainly help fill the void in the middle of the defense. The Packers will have to weigh whether a player like Hunter can provide enough value on first and second downs to justify a second-round selection. The cornerback position isn't the only area of need. Malik Muhammad stands out as a potential mid-round pick who could push for a starting position. His competitive nature and impressive stats from his time at Texas could make him a gem in the draft. Similarly, Devin Igbenogsun's experience in the Big Ten and his confidence on the field make him a player to keep an eye on, though his penchant for penalties could be a concern. As the Packers continue to assess their options, they must also consider the future of the edge position. With injuries to key players like Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons missing time, the team will need to focus on adding depth. Players like Jackas and Danny Dennis-Sutton could provide that much-needed boost, especially given their impressive college production. As we close this segment, it's clear that the Packers face a pivotal moment in their drafting strategy. They must balance the desire for immediate impact with the long-term vision that has defined their approach in recent years. With glaring needs and a limited capital, every pick counts. So, Packers fans, where are you watching from? And what are your thoughts on the upcoming draft? Do you believe the team will take the chances needed to improve immediately, or will they play it safe again? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth analysis and updates on the Green Bay Packers.